villain. But yeah, I thought it would be cool to have 3 statues in that style with a protagonist sort of intertwined by a serpentine antagonist. I just like the visual trifecta of that, but I couldn't sort of ever pull the trigger on the Batman versus Joker version of it. I don't know why. It just it felt like something was missing. I kind of wished that they did a much larger version, or maybe a smaller scale version of a bigger serpent of Joker in the Dark Knight's Metal universe. I'll throw up a picture of that. But this one was cool. It was reminiscent of this one artist did, where they did sort of this Viking version of Batman. I thought that was cool. It's called Bat King. But yeah, if I displayed it, I would have definitely displayed him with the beard. But I don't know, just something didn't seem as good as it could be about this. It just felt like there was something missing from it. So once I skipped on that kind of the whole idea of getting all 3 fell apart. I was waitlisted for the Red Sonja one. I thought that was fantastic, but that waitlisted expired. But if I ever see it on seconds or a good deal in the aftermarket, I might get the Red Sonja one by itself. I think it's really, really cool. So this is one of the only other boots that had statues. You see a lot of sideshow statues up on top. It's a cool Weapon X, classic Wolverine vs. Hulk 181 up there statue. And yeah, I think like Danger Girl. I think I'd come back around and take a look at some of them. But yeah, not too many statues at this show. Just a few rando, 2 or 3 randos, third-party sellers selling some at elevated prices. It's unfortunate. some cool artists there. Shannon Mayer's there. Yeah, some really cool artists. Inhyuk Lee, Tiago da Silva. I love some of their covers. Really awesome artists here. Kind of nice to see them doing signings away from Artist Alley. There's Inhyuk Lee in the corner. Doing a nice sketch or remark. Yep. There's Ukiyo-E Heroes with Jet Henry, really good guy. He works with this woodblock artist in Japan to make woodblock prints of some of these, but I really like this art style. It's kind of cool, the way he's done some of these prints, and he the way his prints are. You can't really tell maybe, but there's sort of a fraying around the way the paper is at the edges. I like it. It's kind of cool. Makes it feel a little nice. But yeah, check out Ukiyo-E Heroes online. They have some really cool prints of pop culture video games and anime, kind of done in that sort of Ukiyo style. I remember there was this keyboard called Optimus keyboard, where every key was like a programmable GIF, and it was like a Kickstarter or Indiegogo. I remember the guy who designed it was an artist, but he did sell a few. I thought that was kind of cool. This is Kathy100 and Potatobuns. I can't remember if they're sisters or just good friends, but their art styles are kind of cool. And I remember one of them is very extroverted and one is very introverted. And the artist you see here is more of the extroverted one, I think. But they use, I guess they call it holographic paper. I've seen some other artists use that. Basically, the paper has sort of an embossed sort of sparkle effect to it on some of their prints. It's like a little embellished, but works really well with their sort of style. But they have some cool prints on some cool games like Undertale. But yeah, I liked some of their cutesy Star Wars prints. I really like these. I can't remember if these are faux leather or leather bound, but these look really cool. One thing that I have is there is this girl that does these really cool. What are those things called? They're like treasure chests, but let me see if I can figure out what they're called. Yeah, I think they're called mimics, but treasure chests that are like fake treasure chests that have like teeth for monsters. But there's this girl on Etsy who does these sort of leather-looking mimic boxes to store dice or miniatures and stuff. And at one of the New York Comic Cons a few years ago, there was a dice seller. I think it was, I can't remember the name of it. Maybe it was like Critical something. But they were selling a bunch of her mimic boxes. And I got a bunch of them. They're really nice. But those leather-bound D&D sort of RPG books reminded me of those. Here's a closer look at some of those fun candles. Always makes me think of Nick Cage in that movie where he's screaming "not the bees" and punches out a bear. That's cool seeing some people with ruby art bags. Some cool anime prints here. I like these sim skis. That's really cool that they put them under black lights. There's so many of these sim skis, but I do like them. They're kind of fun to collect. I don't have any, but I admire those. Some cool shirts. I like this guy's sweater. I think that's got to be from Big Lebowski. Nice to see Ruby Rod there. That's pretty cool. That's a really well done. God, when he came in, barreling in Fifth Element, what was he? Something. Bzz, bzz, Corbin. Sweetheart, what was that? It was bad. It had nothing. No fire, no energy, no nothing. You know, I have a show to run here, you know. And it must pop up. So tomorrow from 5 to 7, will you please act like you have more than a 2-word vocabulary? It must be green, okay? God, man. Chris Tucker in his heyday, man. Oh, my God. He was... I don't think he was like on the level of Eddie Murphy. How goddamn funny he was. Oh man, oh man. I did like him in Silver Linings Playbook, and but yeah, like when he went through that whole sort of born again thing, just felt like a comedy hibernation for a while. But yeah, oh my god, that guy would make me just Friday. Oh my god, just a comedic genius. Some people are just naturally funny, but they got to be insane, I guess, too, and to a degree. Yeah, that was a good Ruby Rod cosplay, though. Yeah, that guy caught the essence of it for sure. I love all those Loungefly bags. I wish they kind of made some more masculine, or some ones that were made more for guys, or maybe I just gotta let go of some of my hang-ups. But I do like how cool they are. Yeah, these rows, you're starting to really see the congestion start to come up now. I think the next 2 rows is where it gets pretty bad. Probably see my camera get bumped a few times here. This couldn't be helped. For the most part, everyone's really, really cool. It's not like people keeping it real. I really liked this girl's art. Daria Aksenova. Yeah, her art was kind of cool. I considered getting maybe like a couple things here for my sister. But yeah, like her pillows are cool. Yeah. If it wasn't so busy, I would have spent a little more time on this booth. But if that's her there, she's really talented. Her stickers here were really nice too. Oh, I can't remember this artist name, but I love that Fett print right there. Kind of matches XM statue that I have. God, I can't recall this guy's name, but some iconic comic art here. Pretty cool. Captain America, Venom, Carnage. Yeah, some really, really cool prints here. Especially that Boba Fett, though, on the end. That was awesome. I like that Biggie Thanos. This is We Are All Corrupted. I first saw them in Baltimore. The guy who was manning the booth was pretty funny. He was talking about COVID and conspiracy theories. That was like a couple years ago. I cut out most of that interview because I didn't know how the owner of the booth would feel about some of the things he was saying. But yeah, I really like this art. I feel myself getting very trippy while I'm looking at it. I feel like Homer Simpson having that vision quest when he ate that pepper. Pretty cool though. Like these little Pokemon terrariums. Pretty nice. Gives me an idea for how to display some of my designer toys and stuff. I actually got from Earthbound Trading Company. I got like some driftwood and glass containers. These sort of like molded glass containers that sit on driftwood branches, and I put a few things in them, like some designer toys that are kind of anamorphic or animals. They look pretty cool that way. Some more of Ukiyo-E Heroes. You can see some of his Star Wars, Halo, Metal Gear Solid prints, some Pokemon prints down there. Pretty cool stuff. This whole section was devoted for pets, pet toys, and leashes. I haven't had pets in a while. I had a cat and a ferret. I actually had 2 cats and a ferret for a bit. When I sort of... Yeah, you know, I don't know. Growing up, I really wasn't allowed to have pets. I think at one point I found like a toad or a frog or something in my backyard, and I kept it in a jar full of water, and I didn't understand that it couldn't breathe like that. It ended up drowning. Oh, I felt so horrible. But yeah, I just never had pets. It wasn't really, my family wasn't into that. My mom just felt they were dirty. My first experience with a pet really was a friend of mine was getting married, and his wife-to-be was allergic, or actually, sorry, his sister was allergic, and him and his wife were going to move in with his sister. So he asked me to take care of the cat, and so I don't know, I took the cat in, and I really liked that cat a lot. I guess I really bonded with that cat, but it was expensive, like the upkeep for it and everything. Eventually, I think after like 2 years, I had to. A girl that I was dating was moving in with me, and she was bringing in a couple pets, and I don't know, it was just getting a little much, so I ended up taking that cat back to him and asking him to sort of just assume responsibility, because when I met him 2 years later, he was no longer with his sister, but he had neglected to get his cat back. But yeah, I had this girl that I was dating. Things sort of just didn't end well. She ended up moving up north to the Boston area, and I remember calling her sister at some point when I hadn't heard from her, and I was just asking her, you know, what are the logistics? Are we gonna? Is she coming back down to this area or what? And her sister basically said, well, hey, you know, do you love that cat? And I said, yeah, I love that cat. She's like, do you love that ferret? I was like, yeah, of course I love that ferret. They've been with me for so long now. I definitely love them. She's like, congratulations, you have a cat and a ferret. So I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I had that. I knew that cat since it was a kitten. But yeah, I had that cat for about a decade. And eventually it ran into some health complication problems, as did the ferret. The ferret actually, my ex, she sort of rescued it from like the basement where it was kept, and it was sort of neglected, and it was somewhat malnourished. So it never grew to the full size that it could grow. It was always a little skinny and very skittish, but very loving at the same time. She would just call it Spaz. And I guess not the most politically correct name, but this was way back in like 2000, I want to say 8 or 9. But I remember I took the ferret to a vet after we had broken up, and the vet was asking me questions about it, and I kept referring to the ferret as he, and the vet at some point realized he had to correct me, and he held the ferret up with its legs splayed open, so that its nether regions are visible, and he's like she. So I think in my mind I referred to it as Spazette occasionally, but I called it Spaz. But yeah, it was a really cool ferret. And then the cat, I guess that ferret was like super skinny also, and it reminded me, I don't know why, but that ferret reminded me of the actress Callista Flockhart. This is so mean, but I guess when she was going through her eating disorders, I may have seen a picture of her where like her ribs were very prominent. And I don't know why that image stuck with me, but that this ferret with its sort of bobble-like head, Callista Flockhart type skitterish head with big wide eyes, and its ribs showing, and it was petite. It just made me think of that actress. But I guess there's something with ferrets where if they don't get the proper nutrition, they don't get the proper care early in life, and it can really impact their longevity of their health. And at some point, I think there was some health complications with it. I was out of a job at a time. I couldn't afford the enormous bills it would take to try to attempt to prolong its life, and even if I did, it was a really, really remote chance. But basically, I was looking at things like an incubator and blood transfusions to try to save its life, and just didn't have the means, or actually even like I think the exotic vet that I went to recommended against it. So eventually I took her home and kept her warm and safe, and yeah, that ferret Oh man, it died in my arms. I remember cradling it in the morning as it's sort of like literally you could see the light sort of fade out of its eyes and its head sort of, sort of slide over. It reminded me of, God, I don't mean to trivialize it, but it reminded me of when Yoda died in Empire Strikes Back. It was so surreal. It was just so surreal. But yeah, I think a problem is that there was some organ failure in that ferret and its blood wasn't getting enough oxygen, so it was sort of toxifying. So yeah, it must have been not a good, I don't know if that was a terrible death for her or not. I think I was going to have her put down, but I just, by the time I got that diagnosis, it was the very next day she was gone. I was able to take her outside and let her enjoy a bit of nature and stuff, but when that ferret died, I kind of just went into a sort of damage control or what do I do next sort of mode. I remember contacting a funeral home, and they were telling me, yeah, they do cremations of pets, and I brought Spaz over, and when they cremated the remains, the lady came out and asked me what I wanted to do with the remains. And that's when I had like a pretty strong emotional reaction. Just like a Rolodex or flood of memory started coming in. Spaz coming and licking my toes in the morning when I was asleep. I had this really big cage for her that was, I actually ordered it custom from somebody on eBay. And it was wooden, and it had like 4 levels, and it was plush, and it had like secret compartments and stuff. And that ferret loved that cage, but she was pretty well potty trained, so she knew to go in her litter box. So I would just leave the cage door open and have like steps going down outside of it. And then later on, I bought sort of a more modernized cage. But I remember sometimes she would just run over to my feet while I was sleeping in the morning on a Saturday morning and come and just start licking at my toes or something. But yeah, she was just really adorable and cuddly, and yeah, really wonderful. I remember when that ferret came face to face with my ex's cat and the other cat. They would sort of come to a standstill when they were crossing paths in the hallway, and they would both just stop maybe about 3 feet from each other, and then just have like this sort of standoff where they would just stare, and they would stare for maybe 30 or 40 seconds. And I witnessed it a couple of times in my mind. The music soundtrack of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly was sort of playing, and then they would just move along and pass by each other without any venom or animus. I think what happened is early on, my ex's cat would maybe be a little rough with the ferret, but one time the ferret jumped onto that cat and rode it like a rodeo clown for maybe, I don't know, just 7 or 8 seconds. And I don't think I had trimmed the ferret's Spaz's nails at that point. After that, my cat left that ferret alone. It had like sort of a healthy, cautious respect for him. But yeah, like that ferret, it really, I didn't expect it, but man, emotionally hit me hard. When she asked me what I wanted to do with the remains, I choked up. I really couldn't talk. I didn't know what to say, and I felt like I was gonna cry and never stop. But yeah, I was able to get it out and sort of finish up with that, and eventually I ended up taking the remains of that ferret to my new home, and I buried those remains in my backyard. And when my cat had health complications about 8 years ago or so, yeah, that was really rough too. I mean, I went through a lot with that cat. The cat even sort of, I kind of got back together with that ex almost after a decade. And initially the cat didn't recognize her and was hissing at her, but I think he came around. But that was sort of a weird moment for me, where almost like divorced parents, like I had won the affection of that child, and the child only had disdain for the parent that had left. I don't know. That's a mean way of looking at it. I shouldn't really say that, but yeah, that when that cat passed away, ooh, man, that hit me hard. I was in a pretty significant depression for a little bit, but I don't know. I think with pet owners, in a way, I can see why someone gets a young pet when they have an old pet, for two reasons. One, like, it feels like maybe the older pet can imprint some of their personality, or some sort of passing of the baton of spirit in a way to the younger pet. Psychologically, it's easier to sort of deal with that. But after the cat passed away, I guess it had lived for about 14 years, I would say, because I think I knew it when it was a kitten in the year 2000, and then he passed away in June of 2014, I think. I don't know, there was this I was just going through a lot around that time, and there was just a lot of things on my bucket list. Yeah, I think I just didn't get a pet, and I've just been pet free ever since then. I thought, if I'm ever in a long-term relationship, I'll get another pet. But oh yeah, there's the creator of Thundercats. The guy, I was wearing a Thundercat shirt, and the guy just asked me, "Are you here for that?" And I was just on autopilot and said no, but I didn't realize I should have just gotten his autograph, Larry Kenny's. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. Lynn Lipton, some cool, iconic animators back here. Yeah, so I guess that window passed, and I just never. I don't know. I was just. There was a lot of obligation. There was a lot of reward with having pets, but there's a lot of obligation and a lot of stress. I remember I went on a trip for work one time, and I had organized so that my friend would come and take care of the cat and make sure it was fed and got some attention. And when I called in to check, he had totally forgotten, and my cat had was left alone. It was so stressful trying to last minute emergency organize somebody to come get that cat. But yeah, I don't know. I just I really felt a huge sense of loss and hurt, and maybe it's just insecurity on my part. I just didn't want to go through that again without. And also, I thought if I ever get a pet again, I would love to have it with somebody else so we could sort of do double duty on attention, or maybe get two pets so the pets can sort of keep each other from ever being lonely. 'Cause I think when my ferret passed away, maybe there was probably a depression and loneliness to my cat too, to not have his companion there. But yeah, I just I sort of missed that window, and yeah, I don't know. I read an article recently online where a study showed that people with dogs usually have a very insecure connection at times with other humans, and sort of the dog substitutes for the connections that people sort of nurture and fall into. But yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, pets can be awesome. I do like cats in a way, because I think Mark Maron said it best. Yeah, it's like with a cat, you have to constantly earn its love. It's never like a dog. There's no unconditional anything. You've got to work hard for that cat's affection and to sustain it. I don't know if that says something about the nature of my masochistic character or not. But I do find the challenge of winning over a cat kind of rewarding. Yeah. I forgot what initially I started this conversation about. What was I talking about? Cats and pets and ferrets. Jeez, I don't remember. Oh, yeah. All of that made me think of Janeane Garofalo. I remember in a bit or in a set, she was talking about how she was filming some movie, and during a break, I don't know if she was filming a movie or she was at her new house, and she heard like some whimpering or some squealing coming from under a porch, and she looked under the porch and there was like a puppy there, and she's like, fuck, now I have a dog. But yeah, the pets win you over really, really quick. Oh yeah, maybe I think like I saw the booth with all the pet toys and stuff. I thought it was kind of cool that there was an entire large booth dedicated to pet toys and leashes and stuff like that. Where I work at a hospital, they have these service dogs that are really, really well trained. The ones that don't graduate from becoming support dogs end up becoming like emotional support dogs, I think. But the ones that are really, really well trained are just unbelievable in their personalities, and just it's really something to see the end result of a really well trained pet, especially one that's designed for health. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for them. Well, here's some cool sideshow statues. This Storm and this X23. I really like this X23. There was an exclusive version where she has like sort of a Zorro kind of mask over her eyes. I kind of regret missing out on this, but God, I love dynamic statues with this kind of kinetic pose. Really, really well done. And then the paint job on this Storm is really, really good. I think it lights up and flashes on the bottom, so it really shows off the light. And that Wolverine, the Logan, knocking over that chair, that one's really nice too. Really good sculptors here. I think that was Daniel Bell, might have done that Wolverine. Yeah. There's Mike Mayhew doing some signings at Eastside. Really good guy. He did a really cool remark and signing for me for a couple G.I. Joe comics last year. Really fun, good guy to talk to. Really talented. He did like, I think he revealed some pages of Vampirella. They were really, really well done. I really like his line work. This artist is really cool too. Yeah, I really liked his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle prints, and then he had some cool Transformer prints and stuff too. Forget his. I think I did identify him here in a second. If not, oh my god! Oh, that was a cool Castlevania backpack. Yeah, that black light metal prints are really cool. Yeah, they're really well done. Jaime Coker creation. Yeah, Jaime Coker. That's his name. Yeah. Yeah, he's like that really big guy here. I don't know if he's Samoan, but he's that big guy with the beret in the back and the tank top. The prints I really like besides those TMNT ones was the ones on the very end on the left that'll show up in a bit. I thought those were really cool. He had like a series over here. I forgot what the name of the series was, but there's like a Skeletor, a Cobra Commander, a Megatron, and a Boba Fett sort of holding sort of a toy or miniature version of their protagonist in their hands. And then there's a Vader one in the back too. I think I leafed through some of these here. Yeah, this guy's cool. Pretty talented. Oh, that Harley was cool on the right. Didn't even notice in his originals. Wow, that's really awesome. Yeah, the Harley. I don't know if it's... Oh, it's Poison Ivy? Yeah, it's like Harley and Poison Ivy together. Yeah, anyway, yeah, here's some of this series. Yeah, this is really cool. Yeah, I think it's called Villainous Villains or something. It's Mordock. That Serpentor is cool with Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah, that's great. That movie was so good for its time. That G.I. Joe movie that hit the theaters back in the day. Yeah. Good stuff, good stuff. Oh, here's a bunch of Gundam plastics. Gunpla. God, these kits are awesome. Some of the custom Gundam kits that you see in Asia, they have like competitions for them. Those are really, really amazing. Just really wonderful. I think I've faded out here again for a camera overheating issue or a recording space issue, but I'm pretty much right in the same row, coming up the same side on the right side now. Unknown Comics has some really cool covers. Yeah, I like the way they do some of these split covers too. It's pretty nice. Oh, this is Herofied. My friend Rob, who's the owner and creator of these metal prints. I have a few of their prints. That Vader print, for example, he updated and modified it recently. But yeah, his prints are really cool. That was like the very first metal prints that I ever bought. Yeah, but I love the high gloss prints that he uses. He does a really, really good job using different effects and stuff. It's Mysterio, Black Panther, Killmonger. Yeah, he does a really cool job. He has a lot of prints dedicated to Stormtrooper and Imperial helmets, and also a lot of ships from Star Trek and Star Wars. But yeah, his work's great. He's got really cool bookmarks and keychains and stuff too. Herofied, yeah. Really good guy. Yeah, some of these fade outs are because the camera got knocked askew or started pointing straight up my nose, and I just wanted to cut that part out. So yeah, just spare you the awkward camera angles. So sorry about that, but you can tell I'm pretty much in the same spot when it fades out and fades back in. Lots of Moon Knights around. I love the way that series started, and I actually kind of dug like the psychiatric part when he was in the hospital, sort of battling all that. I just feel like the series didn't really stick its landing, and got the sense that it was a one-off, but it had really great acting. I don't feel like Ethan Hawke was given a lot to do outside of what he normally does. He's a fantastic actor. I've loved him in all the weird stuff he does, like Existenz and stuff like that, and Gattaca. But Oscar Isaac, that's the first time I realized, man, that guy is really talented. He was just edited badly, just not given a lot to do, and he just came off horrible to me in those Star Wars movies. But I could really see him being really, really a really good actor for a lot of roles, where like the character has to do a lot of self-introspection or do some internal battling. Moon Knight was a natural, really, really good fit for him. I hope, in a way, even though I felt like Moon Knight didn't stick its landing, it kind of copped out and felt a little generic and by the numbers at the end, and a little anticlimactic. I kind of hope they do continue it. I really like that world, and I really like the art design of that show. The acting's fantastic. The dialogue is mostly good. There's a lot of interesting, really, really ideas. It's really unorthodox, unpredictable, in a good way. But some stuff, I don't know, like they overpromise things. When they cut away all of a sudden and all this, like amazing action has happened, and, you're seeing the aftermath of it. I mean, yeah, that's cool. Like 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. But if you keep going to that well, it dries up. It reminds me of like The Bourne Identity. For its time, that was a fantastic movie. The way the handheld camera jittered and rocked about, and sort of was very shaky and had like this frenetic energy. Yeah, I mean, it worked because that was like the psyche of Jason Bourne, a guy who's unstable, trying to find stability. He's just like explosive, and like these burgeoning sort of skills and abilities are coming to the surface like a volcano. So it works. But then when every movie starts copying that style, it gets a little tiresome, So yeah, this was really cool cosplay with that woman as the Pennywise. She did a really, really cool job. I guess she's like a professional cosplayer. But yeah, she did a really, really cool job. There's A-game merch coming up on the left. A lot of cool lenticulars here. Logan Qwirkilicious is the main artist here. This is the second A-game merch. There was one earlier. A lot of cool lenticulars here. Some really nice ones. He has some not safe for work erotic ones too on the inside. But yeah, really cool art. Even if these weren't lenticular, just some of the art on these is really awesome. But I feel like of all the lenticulars I have from Wizyakuza and him, those are like the two prime best ones. I feel like the art here by Logan Qwirkilicious is really amazing. That art is better than Christian's art from Wizyakuza. Not to compare, it's just different. But I do prefer Logan's art. I feel it's more accomplished, and it's just more to my taste and style. And also, like some of the erotic stuff. I mean, you can tell Logan has a great grasp on human anatomy and how to draw women and stuff like that. But the other thing is both Wizyakuza and Logan, they sort of design their lenticulars really, really well. It makes sense. It's not just a couple random images thrown together. They kind of put some thought into what are the 2 or 3 images that it should combine, or maybe just the same image from a few different angles to give it the beautiful 3D effect. So yeah, they do a really, really cool thing. Well, at some point I may sort of redo my lenticular display on the walls to try to backlight them, because you can add some transparencies. I should say they're a little translucent, so light does come through, and they look fantastic when they're backlit. Lighted frames are super expensive, so if I could find a way to build them or find a way to mount them on the wall and have backlighting, I would definitely do that. There's another artist, I think her name is Akimi-chan, and there was another booth at San Diego Comic-Con where I got a couple lenticulars of her stuff. But yeah, Logan Qwirkilicious is probably like my favorite of the ones that do lenticular stuff. Yeah, I was talking to this guy. He made a couple of these pieces on the left. One was, I think, factory made, but one of them was one that he constructed. But he was a pretty good toy maker, puppet maker. Some really cool horror metal prints here. This is more of the stuff I thought I would see at Monster Palooza. To a degree I did, but some of the higher quality horror art is still here at Comic-Con. But some of the stuff, yeah, definitely was cool. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think he made those critters. But yeah, that guy was pretty good. And it's almost Halloween. I feel like rewatching a lot of those old classic black and white movies. I really miss people like Elvira and Gilbert Gottfried. And there was another guy. He reminded me of a country singer. But I think also there was, of course, I don't know if Vincent Price ever did that or if Bill Hader was sort of goofing on that. But I love those old school hosts sort of hosting late night horror movies and sort of just joking in between and sort of being like an MC during commercial breaks. Man, I wish someone would release like a DVD box set of some of that stuff in a Beavis and Butthead sort of style way. I would so love to watch like a horror movie with some breaks and intermissions with like Gilbert or Elvira doing some campy commentary in between. Yeah, that would be cool. Occasionally I've been trying to find like some horror series online. I think American Horror Story, not the 11 season running one, but they have sort of a spin-off called American Horror Stories, plural. And there's like little episodes or vignettes. Some of them are 2 parts or 3 parts, and some are just standalone. And then Del Toro has his Cabinet of Curiosities. Occasionally I'll watch some stuff like that, and it'll sort of sate that void. But I kind of miss those original kind of Outer Limits and Twilight Zone, and some of those are really, really fantastic. Might have to just go download some Stephen King short stories and listen to those. I'm thinking maybe on Halloween I might go down to Colonial Williamsburg and just hang out down there and maybe hit up Busch Gardens scary nights or whatever from 5 to 10 o'clock on Monday, just to get a little Halloween flavor. Probably my favorite holiday of all holidays. In the future, I would love to sort of travel to Transylvania. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier in the video, but I'd love to go there and not do like the conventional touristy Dracula stuff, but just I would just love to just learn about the history of Romania and just see some of those castles and just try some of the foods and But it would be kind of cool to take a trip of Europe and see some of the Gothic architecture and stuff like that. It'd be kind of cool to see some of those sites and tours. I think there's a lot of stuff in the United States that I should probably go check out first. I love to just go take a historical tour up in Salem or there's a few tours or locations I'd definitely like to visit during the fall time. This is Wizyakuza. Yep. So these are like the most lenticulars I have from this company. The one that I missed out on that I wish I could have gotten they had a Superman lenticular that was awesome. But these are really cool. The Christian's art is definitely awesome. These are some of his larger scale lenticulars that he recently started offering. So I don't have any of these, but they're definitely very cool. I have more of the smaller ones that you kind of see down on the table and in the back. But I have some from IPs that I really like, Berserk and Spider-Man, Batman, Marvel, Star Wars. Some really, really cool and clever ones. But you can see why Wizyakuza is at the top of their game. The layout and the thought process into their lenticulars goes really well. And I can't remember if it's more than one artist, but I think the main artist, his name is Christian. He does really cool stuff. I emailed him a couple of times and he responded back. I really want him to do a Castlevania one. That would be ideal. But yeah, he has some cool video game ones like Metroid and Super Mario Brothers and stuff like that, and Kirby, Pokemon. And he has like a whole section where he like combines two different things. Like for example, he has Boba Fett as a bounty hunter hunting down Pokemon. Yeah, he has some really cool, fun art on his site. Yeah, I don't really talk too much about these sort of gambling mystery boxes. Yeah, I mean, of course, some of them may have awesome stuff, but I'm just not into it. I feel like it caters to a bad instinct. Some cool models and anime figures here. This is the kind of stuff sometimes you'll see in the toy districts in Tokyo, around Tokyo in Japan and in Osaka. Fun stuff. Q Poskets, yeah. I like those figures. I remember when I went to Singapore Comic Con, that's when I first saw them. It reminded me of, or not reminded, but that and Nendroids and Good Smile figures really opened my eyes to what collectible figures could and should be. But those are a lot more detailed and really cool, and just I think of them as high-end Asian Funko Pops, but really, really well done. They have a whole section on Disney heroes and heroines and a lot of Disney princesses. They're really, really, really cool. Really well done. That, and I think there's Beast Kingdom. I think there's a spin-off brand called Egg Attack. But they make really cool Star Wars figures too. I think they're based out of either Singapore or Malaysia. But those and Q Poskets and Good Smile and Nendroids, those are check those out. Those are really cool. Some more RPG stuff. Another Misty Mountain Gaming booth here. Some nice leather-bound books. Some nice backpacks. All of these furs and leathers making me think of probably my dream home would be like a log cabin with a big giant bay window that's like I don't know, like 15-20 feet across, looking out on some water or some woods, and but then it would seem very rustic and have a nice big great room, but then I would love to have like a lot of cool technological awesome shit in it. Like you kind of just open a wood sliding door and there's a high-end fridge there, and downstairs in the basement it just seems like one of those cozy dens, but then like a panel opens up and you get like a really high-end projector screen. But yeah, I would love to have like sort of a wood cabin to retire to, and just have like a couple rooms for my collectibles and stuff, and have it seem sort of quaint on the outside, but hiding a lot of cool hidden technological shit on the inside. I once read that Mitt Romney had like his home looks really small from the outside. It's just like a little small structure and a garage, but when you go and park in the garage, it goes down like into an underground layer, almost like a villain's underground layer, where he's got this huge mansion that's underground. And yeah I don't know. I do have fears of being trapped. Watch like an earthquake happens and you're trapped in that kind of scenario. But that is kind of cool in a way. I like. I don't like the idea of flaunting the shit that I have, but I like being keeping things low key. But that's kind of a cool idea. A cool way to have a home for sure. I'm sure it definitely saves on heating and cooling costs when you build homes like that. But probably like the logistics of getting any repairs probably astronomical if all your shit's underground. I can only imagine. I think like I saw like a home that was like that where it's like 3 levels underground and there was a slide from 1 level below down to the 4th level below, and it was like a water slide where from the master bathroom, there was a slide that you could go down, and it trolled around down between 2 floors down into like a swimming pool. It was so exorbitant. It was excessive, and yeah. Yeah, I can't remember if that was a proto for a house or if that actually existed, but that was one of the most ridiculous things. I think just even having one of those waterfall showers is like just like such a asshole rich move. But yeah, actually, when I went out to Monster Palooza convention a couple weekends ago, the hotel that I stayed at, the Belle Vista, it had like a sort of a waterfall shower and then like a regular shower. You could kind of turn both on, but like the pressure wasn't that great, but it was kind of a cool thing. The only place where I've ever experienced that, and it was awesome, was in Singapore. When I went to Singapore in 2018, I stayed at this hotel in Little India. It was an IGH hotel. God, I can't remember the name of it. But the water pressure was so astounding. The entire ceiling was a waterfall that you could turn on. And then there was sort of a shower head that you could turn the pressure up to almost like a jackhammer if you wanted to drill a hole through the back of your spine and out the front of your chest. But just having that waterfall come down full force and that shower head behind you. And then the other cool thing about that bathroom was that that shower was that the front of it was just like a window that just looked out onto the city, and it was tinted, I think. I hope it was. But yeah, you could just sit there showering at like like there was that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer installed a German shower head or the German water pressure, and it was like flattening his hair. But that level of water pressure just crushing you to such a degree that you're almost like building, kickboxing skills like goddamn Van Damme, and then looking out on the beautiful vista of Singapore. Yeah, that was really something. I felt like I was in the height of luxury at that hotel. But yeah. Yeah, I wonder sometimes where I'll retire. I mean, like, I feel like the moment has passed for me to go live in another city. I always envision me living in New York or LA or Chicago or some city and just living the city life. But now, I don't know, it's like Fight Club. I mean, the things that I own me. I have so much shit. I'd have to just put tons and tons of it in storage if I ever took like a job overseas or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm attracted to the idea of living in a city and soaking up that culture, soaking up like that awesome food and experiences and people. Just like the people I met at bars in Tokyo was so awesome, and I'm sure I would experience that if I went to New York too. Also, I think like because I'm introverted, just being in a city forces you to like socialize. You just have no choice. You can't just the place where you live is a place to crash, but the majority of your life and experiences is spent outside of your home. I think that's the point of living in a city. But I don't know, like as I grow older, I do want sort of a haven away from everything and just with all my cool shit, and have like people over and stuff like that. I went through a period where I used to have people over all the time. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just, I don't know. If I see like a really cool opportunity, I'll rethink my life. And I think sure, it will definitely affect my interest in collecting and all that stuff, because I'll just have to put a stop to it. Yeah, I can see like in Japan why people collect smaller things. You know, space is such a premium over there. Unless you're like insanely rich trust fund baby or ridiculously lucky, I can see why you would only collect small things living in the small accommodations there. Yeah, that's another interesting thing about Japan is real estate is so different over there. And right now they're going through a thing where a lot of real estate outside of the city is worthless. So right now Japan, I think, has all these homes that are worth nothing. They're worth like pennies on the dollar because they're this close to being condemned, and they can't get people to buy them. I mean, part of it probably is the economy, and also who's gonna like try to live like an hour outside of Japan when almost all the economic opportunities are in the city. It's just, it would be a nightmare to like, you know. Yeah, I don't know. So different mindset over there. But yeah. Yeah, when I do that a lot. When I go to like a different area like Hawaii or Japan, I start thinking like, if I'm there more than for like 2 days or even like, you know, I don't know, like a day and a half, I start thinking, man, this place is awesome. I get seduced by it. I'm like, oh, I can imagine myself living here. But yeah, it's Japan's a pipe dream in a way. It's super expensive. Foreigners can't really invest. I don't think they can really own stuff. You have to like have an enormous amount of money or some kind of deal with a company or a contractor that's going to accommodate your living costs. So if I went to Japan, it wouldn't be a permanent thing unless I married someone there or something like that. It would just be more like a temporary thing to see how long I could sustain a career and have like a company subsidize my living arrangements there if I ever did that. But yeah, I think I would honestly take a pay cut to go there. I really love that culture. I love the food there. I feel like I barely scratched the surface of the country. It would take me almost like a decade to feel any sense of accomplishment when it came to seeing as much as I wanted to see of that world. But for now, I think my plan is just to try to hit up a bunch of countries in Asia. I think like Korea and Thailand are next on my list, and after that I'm going to move on to Europe and try to see as much of Europe as I can. We'll see how things go with the pandemic. Here's some cool more prints of Wizyakuza. Yeah, really like his stuff. There's a really cool print of the Predator where he's like vanishing and camouflaging into the woods. I love that one. I love that lenticular. I hope they do one of Prey too. I really enjoyed that movie. It was a little predictable in some ways and a little campy, and but overall I really enjoyed it. Nice to see a lot of cool horror stuff here, like Living Dead dolls. I've seen them before. Pretty creepy, but really well done. I like the little coffins that they come in. This is basically like goth Cabbage Patch Kids, I guess. But these are cool. I really like these a lot. I probably went by that boot too fast, but really cool shit. Oh, I think Aaron Bartling was here too. He's the one who sort of did that Ronin cover where the ghosts of the turtles have their hands out in front. But yeah, I don't think he got like, there he is on the end. But that's a big problem with statue companies. I don't really mean to blame them, but when someone has like the idea for a cover and then the company that they're working for sort of owns everything that they do, it's like, and then like, you know, a statue company gets a license and they don't feel the need to ever, you know, sort of credit the original creator of that concept. I don't know, it just feels a little, I don't know, maybe it opens them up to potential revenue issues if they do that, but I don't know, there should be a better system to give people credit. If you give birth to something artistically, I feel like your name should be associated with it. Just because you work for a company as like a creative artist doesn't give the right for that company to sell off the rights to your work. I should say, they shouldn't give them the ability to do that without, and just kind of like erase your name from that work moving forward to however it's licensed out. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe that might be a reason why I didn't get that statue. If I did get it, you know, I would definitely go to Aaron and have him sign it and maybe like cut him a check and be like, thank you for creating this, and here's your commission for this statue. I don't know if he'd be cool with that or he'd be offended, but yeah. I'm curious, you know, just walking by this booth, I'm curious what Korea would be like. My friend has lived there now for almost 5 years. He's been teaching English there as a second language. He loves it. I hope he's okay after that stampede that happened in Halloween recently, during the Halloween parade earlier this weekend. But I messaged him, my friend Christian. I haven't heard back from him yet. But yeah, he's always like, hey, you know, if you ever come into town, let me know. We can hang out. I think he even volunteered that I could come crash with him, but he's such a good guy. But yeah, South Korea definitely on my list of places to visit. All right, one more hour of this. I don't know what else I can say. I thought, like, you know, okay, you know, 7 hours, 42 minutes. I'll have plenty to say. But maybe also part of the reason probably it's 2 a.m. on Saturday and I'm narrating this stuff again. Just trying to knock it out. After this, I'm going to try to knock out the Monster Palooza video, quickly do the titles up for that, do a quick commentary. That should be a little shorter. I think that's like maybe 2.5 hours or so. And then, after that, I'm going to try to focus on trying to get a little quick short review out once a week or highlight of some designer toy or statue. I know I got Designer Con coming up in a couple weeks in November 18th to 20th. So, yeah, man, hope I don't get too backlogged, but I'm going to try to like do my best and start being a little more regular with videos, and then cut little shorter, maybe like 2-minute or 5-minute clips to put up on Instagram and Twitter or something in conjunction. So yeah, just want to do it until I get it out of my system, and then I don't know, if I get burnt out on it, I'm just gonna sell all my shit, sell my camera and my laptop, and just move on from it. Just start enjoying life. I just want to get this down. I had the idea to do this. Hey, it would be awesome if I could, if I retired, this is kind of what I would do with my time. Is just chill out, go to cool events, go to cool conventions, talk with cool people. I mean, like-minded people that are into the same interesting things I'm into. Maybe even just like as a hobby, just do like video stuff like this. I don't think anyone would pay me to do it, but I would just do it anyway. If someone be willing to give me anything for doing it, that'd be awesome. But I don't know. I'd have to develop my skills. Right now, this is just so amateurish. I think I'm gonna just look back on this and want to nuke this from history. But but this is what I would do if I could do full time. I wish I was just born in a different era where we didn't have to work such insanely long hours, and and we could just spend more time doing shit like this. But, it is what it is. There's Genshin Impact. My friend's a huge fan of this time suck of an MMO. I like the art style of it, too. It's pretty cool. Oh, there's that Gallery Panda over on the left. At some point, I'll come back around to it because we missed the initial booth in the early, I think, 1500 1300 area, but this is a bigger booth, so you'll get to see a lot of the cool prints. Especially there's an artist, his name is Seven, but instead of like an E, there's like a letter X, so he's SXEVEN. But he has these really cool samurai takes on different pop culture figures, like Power Rangers or Star Wars figures or Marvel figures like Spider-Man, Captain America. But Gallery Panda does these really, really cool acrylic prints, and they're somewhat translucent too, and they have a white film on the back, so you can kind of hang them on windows too. But they look amazing, especially when backlit. But even when not backlit, they look freaking awesome. His Demon Slayer shirt, very cool. See that shirt that guy's wearing? I don't know if that was a jacket or shirt, but that's like a lot of the anime shirts that I have. Yeah. But yeah, that Gallery Panda stuff, I think that was one of the standout things. That was one of the things I splurged a bit of money on. They gave me a pretty good deal on a bunch of their prints, so I got a bunch of them here in the convention, and I got a few that are coming via shipment. Randy, Macho Man Savage. Yeah, I think this is where you start seeing like the crowds getting insanely elevated, for sure. I think part of the reason too was like there were some giveaways going on, like there was a lightsaber booth that was just giving away, or I would say there was a lottery to get lightsabers. They gave a few away, so everyone was just glomming on. It was just bad timing. But yeah. These are cool. These sort of wooden chopsticks and stamps. And yeah, these are really nice. Baz. Thought they were really well done. Pretty elegant looking. Oh, there's the voice of Frylock from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I was at his panel. Carrie Means, yeah. Really funny guy. He's very smooth. He reminds me of those professional radio hosts from the 70s. Or like in Reservoir Dogs, the guy who does like the voice of the DJ in the background playing all those classic songs in the background. Got that silky smooth R&B voice. There's Sean Carlson. He's got some really cool motion prints there. I've seen his stuff. I've never sort of bought any of his things, but I do admire his artwork. It's really cool. He seems like a good guy too. This is one of my favorite artists coming up. I didn't really spend a lot of time at his booth, Stephen Najarian. He's got these really, really cool dragon prints. His metal prints are really awesome. They're almost like it's made. And he has these really gorgeous play mats with stitching around the edges so they don't fray. But I love his dragons. He has like dragons and art prints related to the Way of Kings, and his primary ones are the ones of his own imagination and making. But he's a really fun guy to talk to. I had a pretty long conversation with him at AwesomeCon when the pandemic first started. That was the first convention I went to. But yeah, great guy. Okay, so here's Gallery Panda. I don't know how well this is going to come across on the DJI Osmo 2. I love these blueprints, blue tinted acrylic prints. Everything here is acrylic. These are really, really nice. Some of the artists who did these, one of them was an artist from Scotland. Her name is Laura. I forget her last name, but she did a great job. She was signing some of her art prints. And then, of course, some of the samurai prints were really good. These ones like Obi-Wan here, Anakin, like a Shogun sort of Vader, a Mando, White Mando, Moon Knight. You see a Spider-Man in the background, Spider-Gwen, another Spider-Man hanging upside down, an Iron Man up there. Yeah, they were like wonderful. Really, really, really well done. Again, the artist name is SXEVEN. So like the word 7, but an X between the S and the E. But yeah, he was awesome. And then the people working the booth, the other booth, Adrian and Karma, both he and her were really, really cool and really great and helped me with a lot of stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to hang those acrylic prints up, and can't wait to get some of the ones that I ordered online. Actually, I was looking on their website. There's like so many other cool ones that weren't even at this convention. But yeah, they got some really good artists. Some of the art I think may have even been from Ruby Art that has licensed, but they were talking with other artists, I think, to try to get them on board and signed up with their stuff. But they were doing pretty gangbusters at this convention, and I could see why. Like the quality of their prints and the way they do them was really, really nice. And I like that they sort of put a white film on the back, so the print's sort of protected if you want to hang it in front of some sort of lighting source. But once it's lit in the background, from behind, wow, it really shines. It's really awesome. Moving forward, I wouldn't get any more metal prints. I would get acrylic prints moving forward if possible. They're really fantastic. But yeah, I think a big part of it is making sure where you source them from and that their printing techniques are good. And yeah, this company does a really, really great job with that. Oh, that's Spitfire Labs. I went by them too fast, but they make really, really cool wood art for sure. I have quite a few of their pieces. They make these really cool wooden Nintendo and Super Nintendo controllers, and the new Super Nintendo one actually opens up so you can see all the cool stuff. But inside the controller is laser etched with a lot of cool levels and characters from different video games. But I think I might come back around to them. But Spitfire Labs, they are really cool. It's run by a husband and a wife, and I think they got a couple kids now. But yeah, they are very talented. They make these really cool wood plaques too with resin inside. One of them, for example, is an overhead map of the overworld in Zelda Link to the Past with blue resin poured where water would be. I'll see if I can post a picture of that. But yeah, that's some of their stuff's really, really fantastic, especially where they mix wood and resin. They use different materials. I have like one wood plaque that has like metal. It's like the Klingon. It's like a plaque for the Klingon logo, but it has like the famous what is that weapon called? God, what is that weapon called that Klingons use? The batlet, that sort of like arc-like blade. But yeah, that is like a metallic version of that hanging in front of the plaque with magnets. Looks cool as shit. Yeah. Another pass at Gallery Panda here on the right. Coming up. Nope, I faked out. Looks like some D&D stuff. That's a cool banner in the back. Some dice sets and compendiums. Okay, here's a closer look at some of Spitfire Labs stuff. Again, I went by the booth a little too fast, but some cool stuff here. Hopefully I stop here on the right. I can't remember if I did, but check out their website before, spitfirelabs.nyc. But you can get a sense of some of the resin that they use back there. I have that Evil Dead plaque with the chainsaw, bloody version. It's really cool. I like these shadow boxes. They're kind of cool. There's a couple companies that do these video game shadow boxes. Some are better than others. Some have a little more depth. One thing I do notice with this DJI camera, it washes out when stuff is like has white light shining on it. It washes it out. I had that same problem with the Dominic Glover prints on the first part of part 1 of the video, and I'm having the same problem with the shadow box in the back with white light shining. It doesn't look like that obviously in person. This is more a problem with the way this camera picks up the light and the gamma, I guess, and the way it records. Yeah, I was trying to get a good look at some of those, but really wasn't coming out. Some nice Street Fighter and Metroid and Final Fantasy shadow boxes back there too. A lot of people were playing video games here on pretty high-end machines. They're doing all kinds of tournaments and stuff. There's all kinds of video game tournaments going from first-person shooters to real-time strategy. It's kind of cool. It seemed like a pretty good time. Those computers are pretty cool looking too. I don't know if they were modified HP Omens or they were just custom, I don't know, like Northwest Falcons or something, but they look pretty nice. Yeah, they're not HPs. They're definitely custom computers. There's another booth for V1 Tech. Some more acrylic prints. Pretty nice. A lot more video game representation here. Unlike Gallery Panda, they had sort of a smaller size here too, with some cool anime art. Oh yeah, this guy is really cool. I like his art. I think his name is ZZYZZYY. I forget what the artist's real name is, but I think that's him. They combined with this BIBISAMA booth that was selling apparel, so I think it's rolled into one company now. But yeah, I dug his anime art. I saw him before too at last year's New York Comic Con, but his art's pretty cool. It reminds me a little bit of another artist in Artist Alley, Bryce Coe draws. But there's a lot of talented anime artists for sure. Yeah, I like this Jelly Empire. I like those little noodle prints. I couldn't get a great look at them with the camera, but I looked at them in person later on. But I liked some of those prints. Some Gudetama shirts over on the right. There's another Handover Hero booth in the corner over here. Coming up. I can't tell if this last booth here was part of Ranelynn Graphics or not, but I did like that Link Majora's Mask metal print on the end and that Totoro print right there. Some of these are really pretty. Yeah, these are really nice. Some nice metal prints. Oh, here's Lenny from Lenzations. He's a really good black and white artist. Yeah, like I love that Berserk of Guts in the Berserker armor there in Vecna. But some of his most amazing prints are in the book below, where he's done like these sort of collages of Tokyo monsters with the creators, like drawings of the creators themselves. But yeah, he's really, really talented. I picked up that Guts Berserker armor print from him, and I think like a Godzilla print from him at San Diego Comic Con. But yeah, really nice guy, really down to earth. I was trying to show him some art of Chainsaw Man to get him to see if he would do some, but he was like, don't show me, I don't want any spoilers. Yeah, Chainsaw Man, I think in the first video I said something like it felt a little derivative. I take that back. It's actually, I don't know, maybe it's not super original, but it's like combining things in a way enough, or styles in a way enough that it feels unique on its own. It does remind me a lot of Berserk in a way. Oh man, check out some of this good food. Finally, they had really good food. I'm so glad there wasn't the usual crappy fries and fish sandwich and that crappy cafeteria food that you find at $18 at a convention. They had some really good Asian food back here, dumplings and just some really good stuff. But yeah, Chainsaw Man, it's definitely got like a lot of uniqueness to it. I mean, yes, there's a lot of fan service to it for sure, but that aside, it's kind of like sometimes it verges on the profound or immersing itself in a kind of I don't know, it's definitely carving out its own path for a way. It feels a little bit like One Punch Man at times. It feels a little bit like Berserk at times. It feels a little bit like a Cloak and Dagger spy thing, or a secret organization thing, maybe City Hunter, but it's got enough mix of styles to feel original in its aggregate parts. I hope some of the fan service stuff tones down, or maybe my mind will sort of tone it out and just overlook it. I don't know. I guess I don't mind it. It's ridiculous. We all think about sex in immature ways at times, but I think we do it. We don't mean to objectify. Oh, look at the timing. We don't mean to objectify people, but at the same time, we do that. And maybe in some sense, when art just like doubles down and expresses that, just go with it. But yeah, at times it verges on embarrassing, but more than anything, it just makes me laugh. Like when I know I'm talking vaguely around it, but like, for example, when the protagonist is pretty much motivated by copying a feel of some boobs, like that's his motivating factor. It makes me think of like NEETs in Japan, like, the sort of like the virgins who sort of just dream of these sort of small time goals. I don't know. It just makes me think of like those movies like Meatballs and Revenge of the Nerds from the 80s. Like I thought we were past that, but I guess not. Wow, that's a cool Princess Mononoke print and there, and the cool some cool Darkstalkers prints, and look at that Berserk and Griffith there on the right. Qwirkilicious. I don't know if it's Qwirkly or Qwirk. What was the name of this artist? Hope I get it right here. Yeah, Qwirkilicious. Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. What can you say? So many other aspects of the show are so well done. I guess you just forgive a lot of the other stuff. But it's kind of like, I don't know, it makes me think of that movie 8 Mile with Eminem. It's ridiculous in a way. It's a musical, right? You don't think about it. It's a musical. It's definitely a rap battle and a melodrama and ridiculous. But like Eminem is so heartfelt, and Brittany Murphy is so like just raw and believable, and at some point you just kind of go with it. You kind of just accept you're watching basically like a modern day version of West Side Story or something, and you just go with it. So yeah, I guess in the same way Chainsaw Man is the same way, you know, or like a lot of anime that verges on, that just has like immature aspects, but I guess we're all just goofy and immature to some degree. Yeah. All right, less than half an hour left. Oh, what am I thinking? I can't work on Monster Palooza. I have to work on Artist Alley next. Oh my God, I'm never gonna. I take back what I said about doing reviews and doing highlights. I'm never gonna get to it. I won't get to it till Christmas. Oh my God. All right, I'll try to like carve out some time and definitely plow through. I just want to get through all this video footage as fast as possible. That's my goal. By the end of the year, I want to try to get through all my convention walkthroughs, first of all. And second of all, try to do maybe like, I'll say, okay, 2 videos a month, at least focusing on a designer toy or statue or something. Yeah, that'll be my goal. Let's see how I do. I'll aim low. I mean, I'll be pragmatic about it. I don't know. It's just, life gets in the way. You just get so exhausted by all the other stuff in life. By the time you get to something you want to be passionate about, you're just out of energy. That's the problem with the world. It just saps too much from you. Yeah. Work to live, not live to work, you know. All right, one more row. Let's go. Final row. Another 20 minutes to make it through this row. And then we're done. Or actually, it's 2 rows. It's this row, and then there's the food row at the end, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Camera getting banged around. Some cool Dreamcast games back there. Yeah, I was surprised at the cost of some of these games. It really gone up in price. Great shooter. Andro Dunos 2. I have a lot of love for the Dreamcast, man. I really love that console. I miss those little VMUs with those kind of like Tamagotchis that could live on it. That was a really fun system with games like Power Stone and Ready to Rumble. Oh man, that system was fun. It was really cool. I remember doing the stupid string trick to play copied games. But yeah, I bought a lot of cool games for it. I bought a lot of import games for it. But yeah, God, I love the Dreamcast system. A lot of Marvel vs. Capcom. But yeah, that was a good system. I remember a girlfriend of mine bought me a record of Lodos War on it. And yeah, as soon as I got the metal boots, that was just all you heard in my house constantly. Me clanging around in those metal boots, or my character doing that. Yeah, that game had a lot of gems. It had a lot of heart, that system. It's too bad that Sega went under. I wish they were still in the fray. I really truly believe competition helps drive all industries, and in the world just becoming about Xbox and PlayStation, and even both of those being somewhat minimized a little bit by PC now. I just feel like that the heart of that competition from back in the day, when there was always like 3 systems or even 4 in the fray, like 3DO, Atari Jaguar, it was just a much better world. Neo Geo, oh my god, fucking Neo Geo. I still have my Neo Geo AES and all those cartridges. I bought them later. I couldn't afford them when it came out, but I bought them later in life. But yeah, god, I love Neo Geo. But yeah, I miss those days of like all the consoles vying for your time and attention. I just miss arcades in general, man. Oh, a different era for sure. Some aspects of it I don't miss. I remember when Street Fighter 2 came out, I went to the Golden Dome at Beltway Plaza Mall, and it was like 1991 or 92 maybe, and I was playing as Chun-Li. I was just starting to get somewhat okay at that game. Oh yeah, you can't really see that girl dancing up on the LED on that backpack because of the way the camera's doing it. But it cool. It looked like very Blade Runner-esque. But yeah, I remember I was playing Chun-Li, and every time like the guy jumped, it was like this tall, wiry guy. But every time he jumped, I immediately jumped up and threw him in midair. And he got so sick of it. At one point, he just turned to me and he said, "You throw me one more time, I'll break your jaw." I just kind of like feigned like I didn't know what I was doing. I let him beat me and I walked away. I was just laughing inside, but yeah, I was just, oh my God. I think part of me wanted to like go buy a bat from Dick's Sporting Goods and come back and take his knees out. But part of me was just laughing that I got to him. But that was like when I was like maybe 18, 19. God, that game was just, yeah. But yeah, I made a lot of good friends at the arcade too. I made a lot of good friends. I would just not go to classes at University of Maryland and just go to the arcade and just play like Marvel Superheroes, King of Fighters 98, or I would say 94. That was the time. 94, Samurai 2. I would like 25 cents or 50 cents. I can't remember. I would just sit there on Samurai 2 and just take people down one by one. I was so muddy with that game. The one game I could never get good at. Well, I got good a little bit later. It was Mortal Kombat 2, but man, I wasted so much money trying to get good at it. But I really like that game. But yeah, I love that whole Neo Geo era. Even like the beat 'em ups and like King of the Monsters and like some of the weird ass games earlier in the 80s, like Cross Swords, Magician Lord, R-Type. Man, I miss the era of like shoot 'em ups. I remember I would go to like this Timeout arcade in Laurel, and like they had games like Afterburner and Outrun and Hang On, but it wasn't like the stand-up arcades. It was like the ones where you sat in with hydraulics, and fucking Afterburner was spinning you almost upside down when you did like moving that flight stick around. You could like circle it around in sort of a certain quick fashion, circular fashion, and you could like almost like roll the cabinet. Yeah, it was God, I really miss those days. And right across from that Timeout arcade was Games Workshop, and it was one of like the flagship stores. So there was like these beautiful miniatures, and yeah, man, that was good times. I loved going to that mall. It was like hitting up, by the way, this woman here, she was like taking out pearls, and I didn't point the camera right, but she kind of uncovered a black pearl. It was like beautiful. But yeah, I mean, the itinerary for going to that mall in Laurel, Maryland, was like hit up the Egghead software, and then I think later on it became the horrible GameStop. But there was, it used to be called Babbage's first, I think, Babbage's or Babbage's etc. And they used to have like Neo Geo cartridges up there, and TurboGrafx games, and then like wall to wall like PC games, but they were like Sierra Adventures, and it was just cool because they would just have all the games up there. But then later on it was like Super Nintendo and Genesis, and it was just cool seeing all those RPGs up there. And then it became GameStop, and I think Funkoland. There was another competing store downstairs, but yeah, you hit up that electronic store, and then you went over to the arcade for a bit, and then you went over to Games Workshop and browsed the RPG books and picked up like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Shadowrun RPG book and leafed through the art, or picked up a copy of White Dwarf and leafed through that. Oh man, going through White Dwarf that was awesome. That was just like I would leaf through it like a pervert just staring at like some of the miniatures or winners of the Golden Demon Prize, and just looking at like these beautiful layouts. But the other cool thing about it being a flagship store is sometimes they would like lay out really beautiful terrain and have like battles going for Warhammer Tactics or for Fantasy Battle, and like some of and all the miniatures back then weren't plastic. They were all like white metal. They were sort of like these soft metal miniatures that had to get like shaven down and sanded and cleaned and painted. But man, people spent hours on that stuff, and it was cool. But I remember my friends and I, we all bought Talisman and the expansions, and we would play Talisman constantly. But yeah, it was good times. And then we'd go back over to the arcade. But even if I went alone, I would go to that mall alone by myself, and it was just so fun. Yeah, I grew up in the mall too. Like my mom, she owned a Mexican restaurant and kind of co-owned it with a sister of hers. But in the summertime, I would just beg her, like, please don't leave me at the babysitter. Let me please come to work with you. And we would walk from our apartment complex over to the mall. And I remember in 1982 or 80, around thereabouts, it was a blizzard. I remember the snow was higher than me. Oh, here's a good look at some of those noodle prints. They're really cute. Yeah, the Jelly Empire. Really cool. So yeah, I remember, like there was this blizzard we walked through at one point. But yeah, like that mall was awesome. Well, it was like a loitering mall more than anything. There wasn't any big department stores or anything in it. There was this store called Best. And like when you went to that store, a lot of the toys and video games, they weren't out on the floor, or especially video games weren't. So when you ordered a video game, they would have the game like a box kind of mounted up on the wall, and then there would be like these tickets that you could snap off and take, and the tickets had product numbers on them with some special labels, and you would take that ticket over to the corner when you're ready to buy something, and there was like this back area with 3 or 4 people at cash registers, almost looked like a customer service area. But then there was like this conveyor belt behind them, and they would punch that ticket into like their like old school computer, and then after like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, the magical elves working downstairs would put the product on the conveyor belt, and then it would just come up. And I think they did that a lot with like Cabbage Patch Kids and stuff, but also for certain special video games. And I remember when Zelda came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System, it came in an all gold box with all gold cartridge. And I distinctly remember that goddamn game coming up, and it was almost like the lights of the heavens were shining down. Oh man, look at these Mega Man prints. These are really nice. That Mega Man Zero. I have 2 statues by HMO of those 2 that are awesome. This is some more of V1 text prints you can kind of see. I think actually some of these may be Ruby Arts prints up above. But yeah, not on this side, but I know she had some black and white prints I think might have been licensed with them. But yeah, Best was like sort of like really the only department store, but going to that mall was cool. Like I ran around that mall. I would go there almost every summer between the ages of 8 to maybe about, I would say 12 or 13, until we sold that restaurant. And while my mom cooked in the morning, I would sort of man the cash register just in case anyone came. My mom would cook all the food, and even though we're Indian, it was like a Mexican restaurant we were running. Go figure. But yeah, so Yeah, I would, in my free time when my mom sort of had the reins and was finished cooking or getting most of the food ready, she would just have like big vats of really good beef and stuff. Like to this day, the hot sauce my mom would make for that restaurant is some of the best hot sauce. Oh my God. I should go back and figure out what the recipe for that is. But yeah, anyway, once she had the restaurant going, then she would mostly man it with the help of maybe one waiter or waitress. And I would run around the mall. Yeah, I would just, I would go over to the Carvel ice cream store, and sometimes they would give me free ice cream. Or I would go over to the bookstore. It was called Book Nook. And I would, read comics, or I don't know, as I started getting older, I started reading some of those romance novels. I don't know. Oh, man, so embarrassing to talk about. But I would just go over to like the and read the comics at the bookstore, just browse through like art books for movies and stuff, and or just look at the Fangoria magazine or the Conan the Barbarian comic books, and sometimes there'd be ads for upcoming movies like Chuck Norris's Delta Force. But yeah, it was cool, man. And then I would go over to the hobby shop, and there was always really cool woodworking, model planes and stuff you could build. Some of them were cheap, and then there were 2 movie theaters, an AMC 6 and an AMC 8 later on. And there were 3 arcades. And I would go over to the movie theater, and in the mornings there would be super cheap movies for like maybe, I think, 75 cents or $1.25. I still remember the very first movie I watched was like Yogi Bear and Boo Boo cartoon. It was like a sort of a mix of Hanna-Barbera cartoons kind of bundled into a movie. But yeah, that mall was fun. Even like there were like little, there were arcade machines strewn through the mall. Like there was a Ghosts and Goblins, a Punch Out. I mean, initially it was like Frogger and Karate Champ and Yar Kung Fu, and then later the games got a little more advanced. After Pole Position, it was like Punch Out and Contra. But like at the arcade operator was really cool. But our restaurant sometimes had deals with other places, like the Video 95. There was a store called Video Village that rented videos, and then the AMC theaters. And so sometimes we would give some of their employees free lunches, and they would give us and our family like entry to go have free movies or free popcorn or free video rentals and so on and so forth. So it was like a tit for tat kind of thing at the mall. So growing up as a mall rat, I kind of had like the run at the mall. I felt like a little crown prince. Look at some of these great foods down here on this final aisle. But like there was this whole area where people were just chilling and sitting and eating. But that was some of my most happiest moments running around that mall. I remember that the arcade owner, I think I know I shouldn't be laughing about this, but he was arrested, I think, for molesting or sexually assaulting a young girl who was underage. But I remember I would run over to him, and he would he would tickle me, or he would pick me upside down and shake me upside down. But I guess it was a good thing that I wasn't his type. But I remember he was like arrested, but yeah, good times. Yeah, some of my happiest moments are like memories of going to that mall. I think my mom probably went through a lot of hardship and sacrificed trying to make a living and support like us and help support my dad while he was going. Oh, well, my dad was working full time too, but just trying to like make it. You know, really, they really came to this country, I think, with like very little money, like less than maybe $100 or less than $200. But hey, man, we found our way. It was interesting living in that area in PG County and Greenbelt. You know. It was very interesting, and it was like such a culture change, shifting to like a mostly diverse community later on when I got to middle school. But that was Yeah, that neighborhood, Spring Hill Lake. You said hello to the drug dealer on the way to school. Well, you didn't really say hello, but you just kind of like kept your eyes down and didn't make eye contact. But yeah. Good times. But yeah, even after I moved away, I would constantly find myself coming back to that mall, mostly because of the arcade there, the Golden Dome arcade that they had outside, and the 2 arcades that they had inside that survived for a bit. Yeah, I think those were definitely like fun money makers. And then there was another arcade down the street called City Place that had a lot of cool import arcade machines from Japan. An older man and his wife used to run that, and then when he passed away, she tried to keep it going for a bit, but then eventually I think shut it down. But yeah, just going by that booth made me think of those arcades from back in the day. Yeah. Oh my God. This Hibernacula booth. Some really cool, pretty art. Some cool jewelry here too. Almost done. God, my feet are vicariously hurting from just watching this video. Oh man, I'm thinking of what is that? Something that Ignatius Riley says in Confederacy of Dunces. Please, I'm only resting my rather broken feet. Let me assure you, I did not choose to collapse here in front of your gas chamber of a den. I did not return here of my own volition. My feet have simply ceased to function. I'm paralyzed. May I interest you in purchasing a hot dog? Oh, man. Why did Fortuna lead me to this spot? If you haven't read Confederacy of Dunces, or I recommend getting that audiobook by the narrator. I think his name is Whitner, Barrett Whitner. It's the funniest goddamn thing I've heard. I haven't finished reading it, but I just remember listening to that part recently. But yeah, oh my God, I'm just getting vicarious foot pains, and I really gotta lose weight. It's not easy, like walking this hall, with when you're just overweight. Your thighs hurt, your legs hurt. You need to like recuperate. I feel like I need to be like Boba Fett and go into a goddamn Bacta tank, and before I can make it to the next day. What was the other thing? He said something. Oh man, he was talking about the hot dog vendor, Paradise Hot Dogs. This character from Confederacy of Dunces. He was saying something like, the grandeur of my physique, the complexity of my worldview, the decency and taste implicit in my carriage, the grace with which I function in the mire of today's world, all these confuse and astound the simpletons around me, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting, I was just thinking of that because all of this feels like an exercise in narcissism. This is really all about me. That's another thing I noticed. If I upload some interviews I did with some of these artists, I didn't really do any of that here, but I've done that in the past at other conventions. It's not even really interviews, just conversations, kind of like the stupid conversations I had in the first part of this video. But I find often, like, the way I talk, maybe this is like a Mark Maron thing, I invariably make the conversation about myself. So I don't know, it's just a bad habit of mine. But yeah, maybe I will upload those. I don't know. I'll keep this exercise in narcissism and self-interest going. Probably have to go back through all of this in therapy in the future when I try to work on my mental issues. But yeah, okay. Just a couple minutes left here. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too annoying. I'm debating whether I should upload a version of this without my commentary. I almost don't feel like doing that because it's going to hurt my feelings too much if the ones without commentaries get more views than the ones without commentary. Yeah. Of course, you know, with the views I get, I get like maybe 16 views per video. I can't believe anyone would make it through any of this stuff. But yeah. If you did stick around or skim through this video, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was cool. It's always fun just to people watch it. Big props to Lo-Fi Geek. He's doing the background music and video on this stuff. I kind of did a mix of Christmas music and Halloween music. He's definitely supports artists. I like using his music. His music is really my jam. I think it just fits really nicely into what I choose. And check out his stuff. I'll definitely link his credits down below, Lo-Fi Geek. All right, guys, that was the end for NYC 2022. Have like a kick-ass holiday and happy Halloween, guys.